There is no more powerful thing in the universe than the power of the idea. So what I'd like to do is get you comfortable with the idea of interdimensional coexistence, namely spirit and body unified.
Now, let's start with a few basic ideas.
All you have to do is get comfortable with the idea shape of interdimensional coexistence. Pay attention and follow along. It's very, very, very simple. In truth, the answer, the solution to the problem that we are facing is actually the most very simple of things. All you have to do is change one little thing, and that is a point of view.
Namely, awareness from one dimension existing in the dimension of its opposite.
Once you understand the relationship between the two dimensions, everything will make sense. All right? So let's begin. We're going to talk about three elements in two dimensions. There are only two dimensions that we need to concern ourselves with, and there's a million ways to describe it visually with symbols, so I'll try a few different ways. Hopefully something will catch, something will make sense to you, and you will understand. So we'll start with this. Two separate, completely separate and independent dimensions. We're going to call this one the first element, and this one the second element. Do you understand? Awareness from one dimension existing in the dimension of its opposite. The first element is basically the essence of heaven. Now the first element is a dimension of all positivity, and we will represent it with this symbol, all positive. Okay? The second element is the opposite of the first element. So the opposite of an all positive is negative. But in a freestanding dimension, we have to show what it is negative of, so included in that negative is positive. So we have the first element, which you may call the essence of heaven, and the second element dimension, which is the dimension of the material, namely this world is the second element. The opposite of the first element is the second element. The opposite of an all positive is not simply a negative, but the opposite of an all positive singularity is in actuality duality, which is what we have here from a subatomic level on up, and that includes everything. So to help you understand, let's draw it like this. Two lines. Okay? This is the first element, the all positive dimension that has within it no opposites. And here is the opposite, namely this material dimension, which is bound, defined by nothing more than opposites, polarities, right? Right here is now. Right here is you. So with this awareness bound into a second element material body, you have the choice of viewing this dimension one of two ways. This way, or you can view it this way. We have our awareness, and we have our bodies, right? First element awareness, bound in a second element material body. That is what we are. second element is basically the opposite of the first element. The second element is this world. So, when first element awareness, encounters the second element, material duality, this first element awareness becomes fractured, much like a beam of light hitting a prism, separates it into a myriad of different components. Just like that. This range, this arena where our first element awareness wanders once it is fractured by the second element dimension is called the third element. We lose sight of our true nature, and that is the combination of first element awareness and second element material bodies. If we can put our attention back on the now, the third element, as you see, becomes a sleek skin of awareness. Because there'll always be a third element, okay? The difference is a third element that is infected and blistered and bloated out with our focus away from what we truly are, which is spirit and body. When we have this sort of attitude, we start believing that our intellect is actually the superior force in the combination. Right? But that is not true. The only truth is body, spirit, and right now. What's the purpose? What is the goal? Who cares, right? But here's the goal. The deal is we are here now in this second element material dimension. But we, as beings of awareness, beings of first element awareness, are actually on a much larger journey than just this material dimension. As an individual, which is what this symbol represents, we can look at ourselves one of two ways. One, we can view this dimension from this direction, or we can view this dimension from this direction. When we view this dimension from the negative side first, from the negative aspect of this positive-negative duality, which is the cornerstone, the foundation, the very definition of this dimension, we get a point of view that looks something like this. All right? First element awareness, originally bound to the negative aspect of this dimension. All right. When we see the world this way, which is how the majority of the people see the world now, what this does is encourages a false belief in separateness, duality, and a material priority. First element awareness gets lost as an independent, individual, eternal aspect of the combination when we empower the negative aspect of this dimension first. This point of view accentuates, promotes, encourages drama, duality, which is not very healthy for a first element being of awareness. okay? Because this point of view, when you view the world from the negative side first, creates the illusion of separateness, and it creates the illusion of an all-positive power outside of ourselves. It separates us, intellectually speaking, from what we truly are, which is an all-positive being of awareness. Now let's look at it from the other side. We have our awareness here, our body here, in our wonderful triangle. Now, when we view the world, this dimension, this way, and that leaves us with a symbol that looks kind of like this. All right? When you can view this world with your all-positive awareness, and you see the all-positive aspect of this entire material dimension, then you see the unity of all things. And when you can do that, it's very easy to say, oh, so when I'm supposed to love everyone as I love myself, it's not that far a stretch. It's not that big a thing, because when you view the world this way, you see that indeed we are actually unified at a fundamental level. Good, evil, up, down, black, white, happy, sad, Democrat, Republican, okay? All that stuff is simply an aspect of duality. War and peace, duality, which is the hallmark of a point of view that sees this material dimension from the negative side first. Disempower duality. What we have to do is view this world, this life, this way. Okay? Which shows us that we are unified in this dimension. What unifies us is that aspect of the first element that is basically half of this entire material dimension. Plus that aspect of all positive first element awareness, that is our awareness. We have a positive and a positive and negative. So we already have two positives to one negative, right, in this world. Look at the world that way, see the unity of all things, of all people, of all life, versus looking at the world through the eyes of duality, which encourages refraction, drama, and the appearance of separation, rather than the fact of unity. So then the goal, once we come to awareness of self as the first element being, our goal is to live as long and as joy-filled a life as possible in that awareness. And why is it important for us to come to awareness of our true nature? Because once we do that, then awareness continues on its journey, which, believe you me, is a lot more than just this life, this world, even this particular material dimension. Religions throughout history have at their foundation this very awareness, okay? The very truth of this combination. But what the third element has done, what duality-based people have done, is steal that awareness away from the general population, warp it into this duality-based view of the world, of good and evil, and stolen away from you, your organic, natural birthright, to a true understanding of not only your nature, but the nature of this entire dimension. Let's draw it like this. We have our first element awareness, represented by that line. We have the opposite of that, second element, material dimension, represented by this line. This is now, right here, right? We have our third element, zone, right here, representing the bloated awareness, namely awareness away from now, away from our true essential combination of first element plus second element, right? We have with this diagram the representation of an awareness that is focused on now, that is focused on the essential components of who and what we are, namely first element awareness in a second element body. All right? And the closer we get to now, the closer we get to enlightenment, or an understanding of the way things really are. All right, so you know what this kind of always looked like to me? Draw a body. The body is nailed to the second element. Awareness exists here. Now is where you have the opportunity to express unconditional love, mercy, compassion, and unopposed joy. And to me that always kind of looks like that symbol. Looks familiar, huh? You could put a little hole there and wear it as a chain. And now let's look at another one. Looks like this. Our two opposing dimensions. This is the dimension of the all positive. And this is the dimension of duality, or the opposite of that all positive. This point here is now, but this is kind of awkward to wear as a chain around your neck, so let's squish them together, and what you're going to get is something that looks more like that. You see? An all positive awareness existing in a second element material body. And you can easily put that on a chain and wear it around your neck. This entire dimension, being based on the negative, can easily be interpreted as Satan's realm. Okay, let's talk about Lucifer. Now, Lucifer, Luce, is light. Right? So whenever you hear of like the messengers of light, 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 even though you might think it sounds good, really they're talking about Luciferian concept. It is a point of view that keeps you completely distracted from what is the essential goal of your first element being of awareness. Get out! Boom! Lucifer gets kicked out of heaven and he falls to earth. And folks who maintain that point of view, remember, they're looking at the world this way, from the negative side first, which gives you that plus negative view of duality, the material. Separate, 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 with a higher power outside that is also separate, separate, separate. So basically what has happened, and the situation we find ourselves in now, is that way too many people have fallen into this point of view, which, as we know, empowers a duality-based perception of ultimate reality, right? And we have gotten away from an awareness of our true nature, our elemental nature, that of a first element being in a second element material realm. And what this has done is set humanity up for a major upset. We have a responsibility, both individually and collectively, to not only this planet, but to this universe. And what is that obligation? The obligation is to come to awareness of your true self, of your true nature, and live as long and joy-filled a life as possible in that awareness. So when it comes to issues like world peace, fighting for peace, striving for world peace, remember, peace is just the flip side of war, right? So the more you fight for peace, the more you're fighting to maintain and encourage a peace-war dynamic. So you will never achieve peace if you make peace the goal. Instead, what you need to do, what we need to do, what every single human being needs to do, what we need to do is strive for, fight for, demand, live a life of compassionate humanity. Fight for that. Because when you fight for compassionate humanity, it gives you, the individual, something to do. Instead of just saying, oh, I want world peace, and then not knowing what to do to achieve that, you never get it. That's the trick. That's the pop culture trick right there. What we need to do is abandon the goal of world peace and take up the goal of compassionate humanity. When we succeed in doing that, we will have, as a natural byproduct, world peace. You see? Fight for compassionate humanity and achieve the goals of world peace. Basically, this is all you really need to know. And if you can wrap your minds around this simple stuff, namely the fundamental nature of our very being, that as a first element being of awareness in a second element body, you pretty much know the answer. Okay, so once you're able to see yourself for what you truly are, namely a first element being of awareness, existing temporarily in this second element material world, you are free to do two things, and that is love God and love one another as yourself. Sound good? Now, the coolest thing about the OEP, the Organic Enlightenment Process, is that it is very, very simple. And most everybody will recognize or feel or sense the truth to these concepts. Okay? And it doesn't matter what religion you are, it doesn't matter what belief system you currently adhere to, because the OEP will clarify questions that you may have about anything, including your own religion. The OEP is a fundamental tool that will help you view this world, this dimension, your life in this world. Okay? And it will help you. And if enough people can get on board and start recognizing the true nature of reality and start living lives in alignment with this awareness of our true and fundamental nature, then we will, as a byproduct of that awareness, achieve what I hope is the goal of most people, and that is a peaceful world where human life, all human life is sacred, where we do indeed love one another as we love ourselves, and wouldn't that be a nice thing? What we need to come to an understanding of is the journey of awareness. Once you understand that your awareness, though here now, is actually on a journey that will take it far, 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 far beyond this particular material dimension. How do we move beyond this material dimension? Simply by coming to awareness, while in these bodies, of our true nature, that of a all-positive first element being of awareness bound in a second element material dimension. Once we recognize that that is what we are, we can then live a long and joy-filled life in that awareness, and then when the time comes to move on, we do. And believe you me, the best is yet to come.